going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon!
With 2 seconds on the clock.
He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Welcome into the Country Financial Studio on a Wednesday, and a great designation of who is in the room. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour on YouTube and Facebook, Alex Stimson is here, Brandon Reichelt is here, Gabe Inocente is here, Nate Ureski's here, Scott Phillips is here, and I'm Ryan Milano here in the Country Financial Studio at Second Cider, presented to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union, and there is so much to talk about that we're actually going to have to break up the next 2 days. It is Diamond Sports Day today. Tomorrow will be a basketball day. So both of the men's and women's basketball teams met with the media in the last day since Joey got off of the air, and both the Oregon softball and baseball teams have met with the media since. So baseball, softball today, and it'll be men's and women's basketball tomorrow on Duck Insider. Also today we'll have Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. Him and I just got back from Texas for the opening weekend for Oregon baseball. Ducks will have their home opener on Friday at 4 o'clock against Lafayette. And then some schedule updates for Oregon baseball. The next weekend, Oregon was supposed to be on the road against UC Santa Barbara. Instead, the Ducks will stay in Eugene for that series. So we get 3 more home games at PK Park on Friday at 4 o'clock, on Saturday at 2 o'clock, and on Sunday at 12 o'clock. That's not this weekend. That's the weekend after for Oregon against UCSB. Season ticket holders, you will get your reserve ticket locations free of charge. You can view those starting on Wednesday, February 21st. Today, tickets starting at $7 can be purchased online starting at 12 o'clock today, so they're up right now. And also, UO students can claim complimentary tickets through the online student account starting an hour ago. So tickets are live. Get your tickets. Get out to PK Park. The energy at the end of last season was so great at PK. Let's bring that same energy in to the start of this 2024 season to PK Park. I hope to see all of you there at PK throughout the season. We just got done speaking to Coach Wazikowski less than an hour ago. He broke down the weekend that was in Texas and the weekend coming up in the home opener at PK Park. Here is Coach Waz.
You guys, obviously have a 2-1 weekend down there in Texas. What's been the kind of the vibe of the team since coming back, and just their confidence level? Just what's been the overall vibe of them?
They were, you can't complain about being 2-1 so much, but I think the team felt like we left some on the table. I think they left for the tournament thinking that, obviously the goal was to win the tournament. I think they left the tournament disappointed that they didn't win the tournament and feeling as though that they could have done that for sure. A lot of new guys, and so you had a lot of people probably trying to, figure the way out and try to see, I don't know, what's the season going to look like? How good are we? We lost a lot of guys, all those question marks, and now that we left that tournament, I think a lot of guys are going, dang, we can be really good.
Obviously, still really good. What are some things that you're looking at overcome heading into this week?
Well, we won, 2 or 3, and our 2, 3, 4 hole guys didn't really do much at all at the plate, which was one of the bigger surprises of the weekend and something that we need to address and work on. We got a poor start on Sunday that needs to be addressed, and when it comes to the rotation this week, that'll address that. When it comes to other things, we saw the bullpen pitch very well overall. We saw a lot of young guys get in there, especially on Sunday. There were some bright moments for sure on the pitching side of it on Sunday with, Toby Twist being a bright spot amongst others. And so there was just a lot to like on the weekend, and we're excited to get back on the field this week.
In particular with Toby, what did you see from him, the resiliency after he gives up that home run to bounce back and go 3 2/3, striking out 6?
Yeah, he was brought into a heck of a tough spot, in the second inning for your freshman first appearance to be with a bunch of traffic and a good hitter up. And, once he settled in, he was dominant. He was dominant in his outing, and that was awesome to see.
One of the themes of last year's team was just being able to string hits after hits after hits. With what we saw from the bottom part of the order in Texas, especially against Texas Tech, what's the excitement there that trend can continue this year?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of that. There's a lot of grit. There's a lot of resiliency. They're a bunch of tough kids that love to play. I don't think you're going to see 2 through 4 getting shut out a whole heck of a lot like they did this last weekend. I'm sure they're probably pretty eager to get back on the field right now, those guys. And just like I said, a lot of positives so far.
You guys made some switches, but just overall, what do you think of your lineup and just how that worked out 1 through 9? What are your thoughts on it?
Some good and bad. You just need to get more consistent. I've already indicated the middle of the order situation, but there were a lot of bright spots. Carter Grotti going 4 for 4. Drew Smith, after his first 2 at bats on the third game versus Texas Tech, really being stinker at bats, second and third 1-out situation, and one of the 2 at bats, both of them were strikeouts. Those are just put a ball in play and score a run kind of thing. And then for him to go 4 for his next 4 shows some toughness and resiliency on Drew's account. So really proud of him. It was interesting to see Bryce Betcher, get the start on game 3 and do exceptionally well. We've all known that he's a tremendous defender, great athlete, a part of Dan's football program here and our baseball program. And so, there's some spots that may have gotten a little bit more solidified after the weekend, and maybe some more question marks for us to address in practice this week.
What went into putting Drew in the leadoff spot? Obviously, last year's a freshman, he hits, I can't remember, 6th or 7th in the lineup at points. Just what went into putting him all the way at the top?
Good hitter. We don't have Riku right now. So, without Riku, you need to replace the leadoff guy. And so there's some guys with some speed that as they develop their offensive game, maybe there'll be options in that leadoff spot, and that would be ideal.
You guys figured out a rotation? Are you going to stick with Gordon and then Sider and then maybe Turner? Or?
No, we'll go Gordon, Grensel, Twist, and Sider.
What led to the idea of putting Twist up in the rotation? Obviously, he was pretty stretched out through 76 on Sunday. He was, he had like about 3 weeks ago, he was set back a little bit with, I don't know what it was. It was some sort of a hangnail or whatever on his toe or whatever. And so we were just holding him out. He got held out of one of our preseason scrimmages. The way he pitched deserved to be a starter on week 1. And we decided not to start him on week 1 because of the fact that he was dealing with a toe deal or whatever. That got fixed. And so he, instead of starting and running him out there, we brought him in out of the pen the first week. He did well enough for him to be clearly starting this coming weekend. And so that's what led to that. Looking at this weekend against Lafayette, obviously they played East Tennessee. Didn't do so great. Just what do you see on tape from Lafayette and just overall?
We've watched their entire weekend. It doesn't really matter. We've watched their weekend. We watch tape nonstop, even Pac-12 games and stuff like that. Last night we're watching, Arizona State play last night. So for us, it's not really, we don't get too caught up on our opponent. It's just about us. We need to improve on some things. Guys know what we need to improve upon, and it's another opportunity for us to play. Whoever we play doesn't really make too much of a difference. It's just we're trying to get better today mentality.
A lot of swing and misses this past weekend. Is that just more of like first 3 games of the year and going against pretty good pitching and all the other guys and all the other teams?
Yeah, really good pitching. When you're seeing guys that are throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour quite a bit on the weekend, that probably has something to do with it. First week out of the chute, we saw a lot of swing and miss by pretty much all the teams in the tournament. And some big hitters. Probably the biggest hitter in the tournament probably had the roughest weekend of his college career. The kid from Texas Tech. And so, it's week 1. I don't think you put too much stock in week 1 at bats. You're trying to get guys comfortable in the box and, playing inside of a major league ballpark that's enclosed and as big as it was is probably another factor. But,
for us, it's week one. You put the good and the bad behind you, and you say, what do we need to do to improve upon this week?
You mentioned last week you wanted to find roles in the back end of your bullpen. Both Friend and Mercado got saves. How much closer are you to finding those defined roles?
Closer, not there yet. You can see that there's a lot of depth back there. Love to get Austin Anderson back in the mix. He's still dealing with something, and that's just been a lingering thing. Love to get him back in the mix. It'd give us another guy back there that had some success last year. But even without him, there's a lot of options back there, and it's settling, especially with the information from this last weekend. It's really good to have.
Is there a reason why Moore only went 2 batters, just got that one out?
Again, it was a similar kind of thing as Twist. About 2-3 weeks ago, he was dealing with something that he had from a weight room deal, and nothing serious, but it was like a tweak of a hamstring, and so we brought him back the week before the season, and he threw in scrimmage, and then last weekend he was available, obviously, and that's why he pitched, but we didn't want to stretch him out a whole bunch. Brought him into a really high leverage situation. I was proud of how he did. I think he only threw 1 or 2 balls and was up to 99. He looked the part.
Opening up at PK this weekend, how excited are you to just get back at home and play in front of the fans?
Really excited. The way the way PK Park was at the end of last year was awesome, and so we're hoping that we see the same thing at the start of this year and continue to build this.
What can fans do to best engage for this opening weekend?
Show up, have a blast, and be loud. Same constants that they did in the Super Regional. Pack the house. When somebody says, oh, well, it might be cold, great. That's why they brought jackets, right? That's why we all have a jacket. So bring a jacket, bring a warm beverage. Let's get after it. And let's get 4 wins. And the fans are a big part of this, and so we need them all there.
That's Coach Wazikowski, a 2-1 opening weekend, and the home opener coming up against Lafayette, a 4-game set in 3 days, Friday, doubleheader on Saturday, and then on Sunday. That is the head coach interview brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. All right, we got to get to a timeout, and we're still talking baseball along with a few of the other sports around the athletic department. Editor-in-Chief of GoDucks.com, Rob Moseley, coming up next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Back live here in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano and the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com, Rob Moseley here. Rob, I'm glad to see that you have recovered from the weekend. You got your caffeine. Is the 4 a.m. wake-up on the way there and on the way back, is it still settling in? Have you adjusted, jet-lagged?
No, I adjusted pretty good. Yeah. I was with you guys for the baseball trip, and not generally a morning person. Those were some long days, but one of my special talents is I'm a really good plane sleeper. Not a good car sleeper, but a really good plane sleeper. So I don't know about you, like the Dallas to San Jose flight Monday morning, I was racked.
Well, I wanted to be, but my plane window was actually broken and stuck up. So
bro, come on. What is this, amateur hour?
I know. So I couldn't
I had my neck pillow and my eye mask.
I didn't bring an eye mask.
Come on,
rookie
dude.
move by the broadcaster.
Yeah, seriously.
So I was staring at the sun for the duration of that flight.
But that's why you bring an eye mask.
Yeah.
Because I need a window seat so I can rack out against it with the neck pillow.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but yeah, then you have the window right there. And, yeah, eye mask. Yeah, way to go.
Poor preparation.
Yeah.
Hey, trip number 1.
Yeah.
Next time.
Totally.
I'll have to bring it.
You just got to, there's no losses, only lessons.
Exactly. You and I were united on baseball over this weekend. Coming up in the professional ranks, you and I are on separate sides. Joey and I align as Giants fans. You and Alex Stimson as Dodger fans. I mean, it's a weird house in here. It's like house divided, but also together at the same time.
Yeah. I got nothing to say about that.
I do want to talk about baseball over the weekend because you and I had two very different vantage points. I was about 5 stories up in the booth. And
you were way up top?
Way up top.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I had to use my binoculars just to see the guys. They were like ants down there. But that's what happens when you get to a big league ballpark, big venue.
Beautiful venue. Amazing venue.
Beautiful
yeah.
venue.
I'm talking to people about how, not to get too sidetracked here, but like I had never been to, I'm trying to go to all the stadiums. Like I'm going to Toronto later this year, see the Penguins. We've talked about that, I think. See the Penguins and also see a Blue Jays game. And at that point, Miami will be the only place I haven't seen a team play a home game. And I checked Texas off the day before the Oregon-Auburn football game in 2019. And I loved that place. It was great. The old ballpark was awesome. And so to head down there knowing they had replaced that, it was like, this better be pretty great. Now, I'm not a fan of domes in general, and the roof was closed when we were there. So I didn't love that. But I thought for a dome stadium, they did a really good job. Like, I'm not a huge fan of like some of like the quirky local twists teams will try to put on. Like I don't love like the train in Houston or like Cincinnati has the riverboat out there. Some of that stuff's a little too much, like distracting. Like I think Texas did a really good job of not creating too many distractions.
But still had a Texas Ranger.
It's also very vibrant. Yeah, it's very vibrant. Yeah, but it's not. It's not like, hey, we brought you to this amusement park where they happen to be playing a baseball game.
Yeah.
You know? Actually, to the credit of your stupid team, like the Coke bottle and the mitt in San Francisco, that actually kind of works for me somehow. Sorry, the soda bottle. But
I'm not sure if
for
it's
the
still
most part,
branded. It used to be, but who knows?
Either way. As I enjoy my delicious Diet Mountain Dew.
That's the caffeine from Rob Moseley.
Anywho, sorry to get off track. Anyway, so it was like, hey, it better be pretty great, but I thought it was pretty special venue, pretty fun place to watch a game.
When I walked in just for practice when we went on Thursday, that was when it hit me. I was like, we're here, and this is lights were on. It felt like it was only us in there. That
totally.
Was what really blew me away.
When the Ducks were on the field, all the marquees, the video boards were all had like the Oregon logo, and it just felt big time. And Dominic Hellman's a guy who's, really fun personality on this team. And he was just wide-eyed the whole – I loved this. He was wide-eyed and smiling like the whole time. And, I had a quick interaction with him at one point. It might have been Thursday. It could have been early Friday. Like, isn't this awesome? Isn't this great? And, I hope nobody's taking this for granted. And he was like, no way, man. Like, this is phenomenal. Obviously, all those guys want to be playing in venues like that professionally. I mean, that's what they want to make a career out of. But you hope nobody's sort of getting ahead of themselves and like, yeah, this is where I belong. I'm supposed to be here. If you work hard enough and things work out for you, hopefully you'll play yourself up to that level on a regular basis. But also don't take for granted, the opportunity to play in a space like that now, and a tournament of that caliber in a venue like that, and how special that is. Don't be afraid to soak it up. And I think a lot of the guys were wide-eyed and grinning because they did appreciate the stage they got to play on.
Yeah, and that was a big part of what a lot of the coaching staff said to me over the week was, yeah, appreciate it, but play a little bit like it's PK Park. Don't let the venue get too big, especially in the moment.
It seemed like talking to Waz, he made a couple references after games to feeling like that was, obviously easier said than done. You want guys to be able to do that, but I think he clearly saw some moments when maybe guys were a little wide-eyed, and the stage was at the forefront of their thinking, which obviously once the game starts, you want that not to be the case, but it's just human nature that, you're going to get caught up in it a little bit. But, that's a team that wants to play on big stages late in the season. And so, hey, an experience like that is great. Hopefully, a few months from now, you can look back and say, all right, you guys handled playing on a big stage and performed well, not perfect, but performed quite well. So, next time you're on a stage like that, you can process it a little better, handle it a little better, and perform a little better.
And so I didn't get the chance to be in the dugout. And so what was the collective vibe and energy of the team during the game down from the field level where you were at?
I thought they were good. I mean, I think you think about the flavor of this team and the tone that's set by the intensity of Coach Wazikowski, Coach Martyr, guys like that. I mean, these are serious guys who take the game seriously. Yeah, you want to have fun, but there's an intensity to those guys that I think just comes across in the dugout through all the players. I mean, guys are just locked in. There's not a lot of kind of horsing around. I mean, an intensity watching plays, check swings. Yes, he did. No, he didn't. Things like that. I just saw a team that was really intently focused on the game action, which again, I think just comes right from the top.
Yeah, and on the diamond, I thought what really stood out from a results standpoint over the weekend was the bullpen, especially the first two games. 9 2/3 didn't allow a run, and then even the third game went through a lot of arms down there in the third game and were able to work their way through. Didn't give up that much in the back end. I thought the bullpen was really strong this weekend.
Yeah, and it sounds like a couple of those guys who perform well out of the pen earn the right to start games this weekend. So I mean, that tells you all you need to know about kind of what the coaching staff thought about the way they performed. So. Yeah, I mean, but there's bright spots up and down. I mean, I was, Hurd, one of the new outfielders. I mean, he's obviously a real spark. I mean, I thought a lot of transfers clearly came in, embraced the culture, hit the ground running with this group, and performed really well this past week. And embraced that same identity of kind of, yeah, you're having fun playing the game, but you're really intense and intentful, about how you go about playing the game too. And so it was fun to see kind of those new faces kind of assimilated really, really apparently seamlessly.
Yeah, and I thought, you mentioned Jeffrey Hurd, I thought Justin Casella in the other corner outfield spot, another transfer.
Totally.
He didn't have the results from a batting average standpoint, but it felt like every at-bat was a 2-2, 3-2 deep count for him as well.
Well, there's a recency bias too, because, he was one of those guys in the middle of the order Sunday that didn't perform as well, and so you start to overlook some at-bats from some earlier in the series. But yeah, that's one of those guys, one of those transfers who came in, and clearly you look at where he's hitting in the lineup. I mean, they expect big things from him. So, excited to see. His team obviously had a lot of power last year. Put on a show a fair amount of times at PK Park. Excited to see if he and the other guys can do that this week.
Yeah, and one of the bullpen performances that you referenced was a guy like Toby Twist, who's earning his way into the starting lineup. We just heard from Coach Wazikowski in the first segment, earning his way into the starting lineup for this weekend. And I always love seeing the freshmen when they get their first outing. And that, for me, was an outing that I was really impressed by. He came in, difficult spot, first batter gives up a home run.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a heck of a way to start
difficult.
your college career.
Ends up going 3 2/3, striking out 6. So what a way to buckle down.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, again, no losses, only lessons, right? So, the ability to kind of flush that first at bat and then get down to business and give his team a chance, and despite the final score, Oregon very much had chances to come back and win that last game, in no small part because of the effort he gave bouncing back from the home run. That made it 6-0. Ducks got back within 7-6. Pretty impressive, and just couldn't quite get over the hump. When you dig yourself a 6-0 hole, that's going to be tough. Not that they don't have the offense to do it, but it's a challenge. But yeah, no doubt he looked impressive once he settled in.
I want to kind of go around the horn here for some of the other sports that are going on around campus. We mentioned the freshmen that are excelling in baseball in the opening weekend. A freshman that's been excelling on the softball diamond in the opening few series for them in the non-conference, Taylor Spencer.
Yeah.
What a revelation she has been for this team, providing long outings and hasn't given up almost any runs throughout this season. What a revelation.
Yeah, no doubt. And the first weekend right off the bat brought into some really tough spots and got out of some jams and, earned the right to get a start. And has she we'll know best. She started one time so far? Yeah. So earned that right and but I think we saw, she did media yesterday, and I think we saw a little bit, when she was in front of the cameras, why she performed so well in the circle too. Just a kid who seems really comfortable in the spotlight, doesn't seem overwhelmed, didn't seem nervous. And these kids all play at, high-level club programs. They're used to playing elite competition and having a lot of attention on them. And obviously it's a different level once you get here. But hopefully if you've banked that experience and learned from it and grown from it, you won't feel overwhelmed when you get here. And she sure doesn't. I mean, she sure is impressive, obviously that's a team that wants to get a few more clutch hits to support their pitching because the pitching's been so good. And, kind of like baseball, I think, felt like if they gotten a few more clutch hits on Sunday, they could have had a 3-0 record. I think softball team's probably looking at, I wouldn't know exactly, but I bet you could go back and say if 6 or 8 at-bats total over the last 2 weeks go different, they're, 8-2, maybe even 9-1. So, obviously you can be really frustrated by that, but also you can say, okay, hey, we're not that far off. Let's just kind of relax a little bit, get, a little more comfortable in those situations and come through.
Someone who had a stellar freshman season for Oregon and parlayed that into a stellar career, someone who you talked to on the Mighty Oregon podcast just got released a few days ago, Jessica Moore. Why should fans check out your latest episode?
She's in the Hall of Fame, Ryan. We just put her in the Hall of Fame. What more do you need to know? I mean, that's what I recorded the interview with her. And it was just so cool to talk to her about, coming up, being raised in a small town and earning exposure and now getting to the stage she's at. I mean, just a great kid and a Duck through and through, which you love, and now a Hall of Famer. So, pretty special.
Over the weekend as well, Oregon men's basketball went on to Gill, got the win, another 2-point win, third year in a row. It's a one-possession win up there. Do you have any favorite memories of Ducks walking away from Corvallis with a victory? And this team, if you don't have a favorite memory, just this team finding a way to win down the stretch.
Yeah, I was talking about this on the show in the last couple weeks. I can't remember if it was you. I mean, one of the games in Corvallis that sticks out the most is the day Kobe passed, and the resolve that the Oregon women's team showed that day, going there and try and play through that, given the close relationship they had with him, and having gotten the news before the game started. That unfortunately sticks out quite a bit. There's been some tough results there too, where there was a lot on the line, and the Beavers got the Ducks. But even go last year, Rivaldo Soares, that's a guy I really liked. I thought he was a really good kid. To see, a good guy hit a big shot, last year was really fun. And, I wasn't obviously at the game this year. But same thing with Folly, and Folly's such a great guy, such a great kid, again, a Duck through and through. And so to see him get a moment like that when he can, beat the rival and walk off a winner, pretty cool.
Also over the weekend, Oregon men's tennis had a comeback victory. You posted on your Instagram, you were rather prophetic of how Oregon was able to win. Take me through kind of what was going on, what you said, and how that all came about.
Yeah, so our guy Vlad is a guy who plays really, really long matches and grinds people down and usually manages to come through in those situations. And Ducks go down 3-0, just looking at the scores on the rest of the other courts and knowing, Vlad, the nature of the way he plays matches. I'm not going to say I was guaranteeing it, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but, having lost the doubles point in the first 2 singles matches, Oregon needed to sweep the last 4 singles matches to win. And so I texted a couple of my buddies from the office, can't wait for a couple hours from now when Vlad grinds out a 3-set win and the Ducks win 4-3. And sure as heck, that's what happened. The other 3 singles matches went Oregon's way. It's a 3-3 tie. Vlad's the only one left playing. He wins a 12-10 tiebreaker in the second set, fights off a couple of match points, 2 or 3, I think. Wins that one and then wins the third set, which as soon as it went 3, I figured, he was going to get it. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of the competitor he is and the way he, again, just kind of seems to grind people down. So it was pretty fun to see him come through in that way and get to chirp about having confidence in one of our guys and him coming through.
Rob Moseley, Prophet, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Anything else?
That's it. I mean, just rooting for the Oregon women too to get back to winning this weekend in Washington. No better team to do it against the Huskies. So hopefully Kelly Graves' squad can get 1 or 2 this weekend. That's Mose. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, appreciate it. We are taking a timeout, and then when we come back, we're hearing from softball. Missy Lombardi coming up on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider here in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Ryan Milano. Just got done sitting down with Rob Moseley, breaking down the baseball weekend. Also heard from Waz earlier in the show. Switching gears to softball. Coach Lombardi going through her opening 2 weekends. The Ducks just got back from Southern California. Knight Uretsky and company are also going to be headed back down to Southern California. It's the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic on deck for Oregon softball. And, well, previewing it, sponsored by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center for exceptional cancer care close to home. Here is Missy Lombardi.
Over, under, and how many times you've had to say clutch up over the last 2 weekends?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
When obviously it's a message you preach all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to belabor the point, but it's a success and failure situation. So how do you try to get that across to a group who's heard it for years, and when it's an issue that's it's been a struggle at times, and at times also come through, and some of your wins very, very nicely in that area. So how do you get the results to come through a little bit more consistently?
I think we just got to continue to play and get back out on the field. This group is, I think this is a really, really special group. I've said that since the beginning of the year. We are getting runners on, so we know how to get runners on. It's just continuing to drive runners in. I don't think there's a major thing that I have to tell them. I think it's just us continuing to go out there and play. This group knows how to do it. This is a veteran group. So, I think about early in the year, you grow. You probably grow a ton in these non-conference tournaments. And you grow and you make mistakes and good things happen and a lot of different things happen. And then you want to get the win along the way. Like all of that is taking place. Just unfortunately, we didn't get a couple of the wins that we wanted.
Your group talked about wanting to take the field as a confident group this year. Do you still see that? I mean, is that wavering at all? Or they still have that mentality you want to see?
Yeah, no, not at all. We just need to keep playing. Sometimes you just have to, the season's long and we have plenty of softball left. And sometimes you just got to work through some things. And that's some things that we had to do this past weekend is work through it and just didn't get some of the results that we wanted.
Is there anything you've been surprised by these first couple of games?
I just think, I don't know, surprised. I just think this group is really talented. I just think this group, we're not going to have to depend on one or two people. I think you're going to see a lot of different people's step up and shine. A lot of different athletes step up and shine. Where I think sometimes in the past we would rely so heavily on a couple that it put a ton of pressure on them. I think this group, you'll feel that different. That Alyssa Daniel could step up and hit an oppo bomb, or Hannah Delgado could slap and then come up and hit a gap. I just think you'll see different people throughout the year.
You just talked to Taylor, and she's obviously come through in a lot of really tough situations for you. What's made her just capable of just stepping right in and handling that pressure?
I just think she's a competitor. I think she's played a tough schedule throughout summer ball. She's played on a tough team, and I don't know. I think she's just handled herself really well. I felt like even when we were recruiting her, she was very composed and just had a really good competitive spirit. And so I just think you see that shining through.
What's going to be the key for her as teams get more film to review and these more dartfish charts to look at? When she goes through the lineup the second and third time in the weeks ahead, what's going to be the key to getting the same kind of results when better and better hitters see her more?
She's faced a tough hitters already. So to me, I don't think she changes a thing. I think she just continues to trust in who she is and not to try to do everything on her own. We've got an unbelievable defense behind her, which I think she really trusts.
Potentially ignorant question here, and I apologize if so, but given the caliber of play she played at before coming here, is there a book on her?
Yeah. She's playing against athletes that she grew up against. Instead of now them being on different summer teams, they're just on different college teams. And so it's not just her, it's Stevie Hansen, it's all these guys, they've been playing against each other since they were young. It's just now they're playing for different colleges versus different summer teams.
Paige said it sounds like you won't get to play Jazz on Thursday, but how excited is KK about this weekend getting to go up against her sibling?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I love that. I think it's so cool. I hope it's not stressful for the family, but I think it's pretty commendable for the Humphreys family to sit back and go, gosh, I've got two daughters, playing softball, they're student athletes playing softball, and to get it, I think it's such a great opportunity for them, regardless of the outcome. I think it's just what a blessing.
Play Notre Dame again this week. Obviously, you faced off against them in the regional last year. How much different are they this season compared to a year ago?
I think Notre Dame is always Notre Dame. I think they pitch really well. They hit well. They're coached by a very good coaching staff. So I would expect them to be no different than what we saw last year.
Is there, because bunk was such a mainstay in particular, and Tara for that matter, what are you looking for as you're kind of experimenting in the two-hole in terms of if it's just about who's the hottest bat, and the highest number of plate appearances in the 2 and the 3? Obviously, you're trying to avoid some double plays, so that takes some guys out. But what are some of the traits you're looking for in that two-hole as you're kind of experimenting with different options?
Yeah, I think just similar to what we looked in the past, somebody that can hit for high average, that has the ability to create some different looks. I think we'll eventually get that situated. We've had a couple different people in that spot, and I think that's what right now is about, is figuring out what your lineup looks like. And so we might figure that out this weekend and it stays the rest of the way, or we might still be working on that. But I just think somebody that has the ability to have high average. One thing Kai's doing a great job of is she's constantly on. She's able to steal seconds, so it's somebody that can come up and be clutch with some RBIs.
Is there one situational trait there? Like, say, obviously, wants some power, that would be nice. Does righty-righty splits, just because they're going to be getting so many plate appearances, is that one that, whether it's righty-righty or lefty-lefty, or are you open to, if it needs to be a rotational thing based on matchup, based on the pitcher, that that 2 may flip with the 5 or the 6?
Yeah, possibly. I think matchup you could see. I think just seeing where people are at the moment, who's hot, who's not. Like, we're not afraid to change our lineup. You've seen that. Like, we change our lineup a lot. Lots of times we'll do it for matchups and just seeing what the current situation is. But
2 starts in for Elise, obviously had her second one. How's it been for her just working her way back from injury, and how have you seen her grow?
I think it's been great for her. It stinks when you got the injury bug and you're sidelined and you want to contribute, but you can't contribute. And so I think for her, just having the ability to get back out on the field and pitch, like, she's been waiting a long time to do that. So I've enjoyed watching her throw. She's got really good movement. She's got a great changeup. She's been doing a good job of attacking the strike zone. So it's just continuing to build her innings up. And, last year it was going to be difficult for her to get through, 1 inning, and now she's getting to 3 to 4. So it's just, as the season goes, continuing to build her innings, to build her load up.
Do you have a pitch count on her?
No, not so much a pitch count. We have a certain thing that we go by. But I mean, like right now, you see her getting between like 9 and 12 outs right now.
Does it surprise you at all how consistent Kai has been? I mean, it feels like every game she's on base and she's still second. Does it surprise you?
Last year she was injured and had to sit out and watch, and it's amazing the perspective you get when you have to sit out and watch. And I think when she returned to play last year, she returned with that perspective, and just is in a really cool place. Like, as these guys get older, they just start to get a sense of what they need to do, and maybe things that they would make a big deal with when they were younger, they just don't make it a big deal. She's in a great spot. Like, she understands what she needs to do, how she needs to operate, and she's been excellent with it.
Were you hoping to get a look at Jordy at the end, and what do you think of the pitchers that you will be faced with? Well, you don't know all of them necessarily, but what you've seen for the pitchers you will face, were you hoping to see her, and obviously the disappointment that comes with a player of that caliber going down so early?
Yeah, I feel horrible for her. I love greatness, and I love when greatness is on my team. But I also just love greatness in general. And so just to see what she's done in her career and to see the injury that she sustained, I think it just stinks. I think it sucks for her, but I would expect for her to be bigger and stronger when she comes back. So we wish her the best and full recovery.
We saw this past week, Missy, that the Big Ten put out the volleyball matchups, the opponent rotation, for who that team will be playing and whatnot, and the West Coast teams with home and homes. I know there was a discussion for softball and baseball of how many series and who will be permanent and all that kind of stuff. Any progress in your perspective as to who that might be? What next year's schedule is going to look like for softball?
No clue. We're just waiting. We're just waiting for them. So if you get it before us, you can let us know. But we haven't gotten any information yet. I mean, if they're just now getting volleyball out, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit of time until they get ours.
How do you think Reagan's done as a pinch runner, and what does she kind of bring in that situation?
I'm sorry?
How do you think Reagan's done as a pinch runner?
Reagan,
what does she bring in those situations?
She's been great. She runs really well. She covers the outfield. She's got good range. I think she's done great on the base path. I think she's got good instincts. I don't have to tell her what to do. She understands. I think she makes really good decisions.
Is there a reason why you went to her a lot as a pinch runner this weekend?
Well, we've been going to her, so I think she's done a great job of it. I mean, I think you'll continue to see her pinch run for us.
That is Coach Missy Lombardi. Knight Uretsky is here in studio today. He leaves at 6 a.m. tomorrow, going down to the Marionetta Collegiate Classic. It's a doubleheader for the Ducks tomorrow against UCF and Baylor on the softball diamond down there at the Marionetta. All right, we're taking a timeout, and a freshman that Rob and I were talking about a little bit, Taylor Spencer. She also met with the media. We're getting to her next on Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio. I'm Ryan Milano. We just heard from Coach Lombardi. Still keeping with the softball team, it's the standout freshman, Taylor Spencer, who has been on a torrential campaign through the first 2 weeks of her freshman season. Here's her meeting with the media.
What's it been like working with both Val and Emma behind the plate?
It's been super great having like two seniors, people who have had a lot of experience with the game. They help me a lot in my bullpens during the game. They kind of keep me, focused in, help me with, small things that I can work on during the game, kind of helping me get better in game, out of the game. So it's been nice having them kind of lead me behind there too.
You've had a lot of energy, it feels like, especially after strikeouts. Where does that energy just come from?
It kind of started with kind of just the excitement, and that's kind of something I've picked up through my career, kind of being known for always yelling, fist pumping. I think that kind of helps me with the game, and I think my team feeds off of that. And it helps just keep the energy up in the game, helps me, keep wanting to compete with the other team, want to compete with my teammates. So,
Coach hasn't hesitated to put you into tough spots. I mean, right off the bat. How have you felt in some of those situations? Have you ever felt kind of like pressure was getting to you? Or?
For me, I kind of think of pressure as a privilege. And I think that's something that, where I come from, that's something I think I thrive in. And, first time, a little nervous, but I think going in there and knowing that I have everyone behind me, I have a coach who believes in me, my teammates who believe in me, that's helped me a lot and helps me be who I am on the mound when I go out there in tough situations.
Is it a surprise to you that you've been this successful so early?
No, honestly, I trust in my preparation, my hard work. So, and seeing that it pays off on the field, I think that's what keeps me going. And I've always been confident in myself and my abilities. So I think going out there and just trusting what I can do, it doesn't really surprise me with how I go out there and perform.
What's been the biggest difference for college softball compared to high school softball?
I just say, like, I guess I would say the constant competition. You know, you always, at high school or travel ball, you play teams that are really good, and then you'll play some that aren't as, like, same caliber as you. But I think the teams we've been playing, it's constantly great hitters, great fielders, everyone. So I think having that competition has made me a lot better, too, every single game, every pitch. So I think that's the biggest difference.
What would you say pitch-wise has been most effective for you so far? Just what's working for you?
In the beginning of the fall, me and Coach Lombardi worked a lot on almost all my pitches. I'd say my changeup, I think that's a pitch that I've developed, and I think that's helped me a lot. You know, throwing off batters' timings, all that kind of stuff. So,
as the weeks start to go on here and your appearances will start to get longer, teams are going to have more tape. They're going to be able to go through more. You're going to be going through the order second and third time. How do you go about preparing to adjust to that as they adjust, you know, the in-game chess match that is those better hitters, to adjust to them throughout the course of the game?
I think just learning how to be different, pitch by pitch, at bat by bat, different sequences, you know, mixing in certain pitches, different speeds. I think that's something that's really big when you're coming through second, third time through the lineup. I think you just kind of have to keep your focus each batter, pitch by pitch. That's kind of my thing. I don't think go by batters or outs. I kind of think just focus on each pitch, next pitch, next pitch, next pitch, like that.
You've been talking with Stevie or Reggie about how to attack hitters. What's that experience like in the dugout?
Sorry, say that again?
Have you talked with Stevie and Reggie about like how to attack hitters and what's that experience?
Yeah, we kind of always talk in between innings or when we're in the bullpen, and we just kind of think like being aggressive. You know, oh, we're gonna go at this girl, like she's not getting a good one from us, like just kind of like that. You know, wanting to get ahead of the count, putting batters early away. It's just help our teammates. You know.
Is there anything you're looking to tune up this week after looking at your first 2 weeks of college ball going into this next tournament at Mary Nutter?
I think especially after playing A&M, I think like he was talking about being different second, third time through the lineup. I think that's something I want to work on this week before going into games. But I think just honing in on everything, keeping everything consistent, you know, tuning up, making everything better little by little.
You got your first start on Sunday. Do you like getting the start, or do you like being like one of those pieces that come out of the pen?
I mean, I love it. I love pitching. So, I mean, I'll take what I can get. I love starting. I love being someone who can start a game. But I enjoy being able to come in and help my teammates and relieve a situation. I like to pick up my, you know, fellow pitchers. So, honestly, anything.
Is Mary Nutter a tournament that you went to growing up as a kid?
Every year. I remember last year, actually, I went and watched the game where Stevie shut out Florida. So it's always just been fun, you know, growing up, watching teams. You know, I'd always dreamt of coming here, so being able to play with Oregon at the Mary Nutter instead of watching is going to be something that's pretty cool.
You know, later on in the season, teams might have a bit of a book on you, but, like, have you been able to rely much on, like, a book on anybody you're facing? I mean, you're playing varied teams, and, you know, how much have you gotten by so far on preparation for specific hitters, specific opponents, and how much are you just going out there and kind of doing your thing?
I mean, all the teams we played, we've pretty much watched film on. I think that helps seeing, you know, batters' tendencies, but I'm also someone who likes to just go out there and attack the batter. Like, it honestly, I don't really care who you are, but I mean, watching film does help, you know, seeing those little things, if someone's around the ball, if they're not on time, you know, just certain pitches like that. I think that helps too.
Do you have a lot of family coming to the Mary Nutter?
I do. I have quite a bit of family, and then I have a rec ball team at home. They're actually the Oregon Ducks, and so they're going to come out and watch too. They came out this past weekend, so it was nice seeing them.
That's great. Their family coming out. The Ducks going to watch the Ducks. That is awesome from Taylor Spencer. We got to get to another timeout, and when we come back, we're closing out the show. Some Pac-12 honors on the Lynx when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays? The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio, and it's time for the Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. The 2-minute drill brought to you by Cafe Yum, serving fresh food fast with organic ingredients. Enjoy a famous Yum Bowl at 23 Cafe Yum restaurants throughout the Northwest, home of the Ducks. Some honors on the links for Oregon women's golf. Pac-12 Player of the Week, freshman Kiara Romero, named Player of the Week for the second time in her freshman campaign. Hit a hole-in-one over the weekend, something that Alex Stimson knows a little bit about, even though it was not verified by anybody else, but he claims it. We all think that he did it. I think that Alex, you got your mic over there, Alex. I think that Alex, you know the feeling of a hole-in-one.
Yeah, it's electric. You know, a select amount of people in this realm we call Earth have experienced it. I'm lucky to be the one. I wish you will one day. Probably won't, though.
Don't play nearly as much golf as Alex. I need to up my game to be like Kiara Romero. Also, Oregon men's golf currently in action. They're closing out at the Prestige today. So some final scores going to come in throughout the day there. Tomorrow, it's an all-basketball day here on Duck Insider. I'll see you then. Go Ducks.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Amethyst and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.